Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Please be sure to subscribe, like and share, and do press the notification bell. This video continues about the creation of the prince with some interesting stories in between. I need to make a correction though to what I said earlier about when I first sculpted him. I said 3 years ago, maybe not. It was actually 7 years ago. It was brought to my attention from one of my wonderful collectors that obviously pays more attention than I do. So here we go. He was actually made 7 years ago, guys. Wow. What you're looking at is the original sculpt of the prince. I felt like I captured his likeness pretty well. Originally, he was meant to be a one-of-a-kind sculpt with cloth body, but many times I picked up the head to revive. It never did until last month. I felt like I needed to wait and improve my skills. So here we are, creating this precious sculpt as a full-body silicone with only 3 worldwide. I've been hard at work on his limbs. He's quite a chunky one, almost 23 inches. Much detail is being paid. I thought I'd take this time as you watch me sculpt his limbs to tell you about my more than 30 years in the industry. Well, I won't tell you about all the 30 years, but I'll tell you a story or two. I like to say the early years were the glory years. Some of us doll artists were almost like rock stars back in the day. We were invited to doll shops to show our work and sell. It was great. We would be picked up in limos and put up in the finest hotels, dined at the finest restaurants. Collectors would come to greet us and buy our work, and they'd want autographs. It was just great. It was just wonderful, the camaraderie between us artists, and would be just few selected artists from around the world that would be invited each year to the different shops to sell our work. I used to go to the toy fair every year, and also the Artists United show. This was a very exclusive show where the artists had to be invited to participate. And the dealers, because it was strictly through dealers back then, they would come in and they would rush us like crazy, like it was a horde that would come at us. And I was one of the lucky ones, as my work was sold out instantly. I mean, I could swear a couple of times there were cat fights. It was just something to see grown women going at it like that. But it was exciting, yet kind of crazy. As I mentioned before in a prior video, my very first show was IDEX in San Jose, California in, I think it was 1991. Back then, it was that show was only for the dealers, because remember, that's how we did it back then. It was just the dealers, and this was my first experience. Prior to my attending the first IDEX, I had met a dealer from Southern California, and she just loved my work. She said she loved my work so much, and she basically talked me into, get ready for this, people, a 50-50 consignment exclusive. Okay, what? Yeah, that was not very smart on my part, but I was naive, did not have a clue, obviously, what I was doing, so I agreed to this. But very quickly, within a couple of months, I realized this is not going to work for me, since she never attempted to promote my work, never tried to advertise. She basically had one collector coming in, one very wealthy collector, just buying up all my work. So I think maybe she put one ad in and that was it, and I was just done with it. So I decided I was going to go to IDEX, which was being held for the very first time in San Jose, California. I lived in California at the time, in the Bay Area. So I told her I'm going to do IDEX. So she said, okay, well, you can do IDEX. Mind you, this is while I was still working with her, but just really feeling like, not going to work. She thought, well, if I let her do IDEX, then she'll be okay. So, yeah. So I did IDEX. Paid for it myself, by the way. But somehow she told me that, I was not allowed to sell to any other dealers. So, okay. So I went to IDEX and literally was telling these dealers who was very interested in my work that they could not have my work. Okay. So, I met at this time my dealer, my very first dealer, Marge, from Marge Doll Sanctuary. Love you, Marge. She was so enamored by my work, so much so she was willing to pay the full retail for it, because that was the only way she was going to be able to buy anything, was pay full retail. And I said to her, no, actually she said to me, why don't you call me as soon as you get out of this mess? So, okay. Needless to say, as soon as the show was over, I called Marge, and it was on. Me and Marge. And at that time, I had 4 other dealers. So there were a total of 5 dealers that I chose to work exclusively with. Marge, in particular, became the benefit of a very a special collector. I was in my... Okay, at this time, I had been featured in Dolls magazine, I think. It was Contemporary Dolls magazine. And when I got the article, I was a little annoyed because they had put my phone number in there, and I didn't want my phone number published. So I was in my little apartment, sweeping up in the kitchen. I'll never forget the moment. I'm sweeping up, and the phone rings, and I'm like, okay, let me get the call. So I get the call, and the person on the other line says, "Hi, I'd like to speak with Lorna Miller." I was Lorna Miller at the time. And I said, yeah, hi, this is she. And she said, well, this is Demi Moore. And I said to her, yeah, sure you are, babe. And she goes, no, it really is. It's me. And when she said, no, I recognized that scruffy voice of hers. And interestingly enough, I was told prior to her contacting me that Demi would love my work and that she would call me. And I thought, yeah, right, she's going to call me. Well, guess here it was. It was happening. She was calling me. And she proceeded to tell me how much she loved my work and that she wanted to work with me on these projects and everything. So I told her that I just work exclusively with my dealers, because, I have a contract. I have a deal with my dealers. And I guess she respected that. And she wanted to know what I was working on. And I told her I was working on 2 pieces, two little kids. She had me send pictures to her production company, which I did, express mail, because back then, we didn't have the internet. And she was very interested she wasn't interested. She wanted to buy those 2. So I told her I was planning on sending those 2 to that dealer this March. And so I sent the dolls off to March. And as Demi said that she would, she had her assistant call, and he purchased those 2 dolls. And that, I think, formed a really great bond with Marge in particular, because she'd been a really, really good dealer. Was buying a lot of my dolls that year. So it's just as fate would have it that the dolls that I had on hand was actually going to her. That worked out really great. So Demi bought those dolls, and Demi proceeded, as the years went by, to buy additional dolls from that particular shop. So that showed to Marge how loyal I was in our business dealings. And even though I had the nerve to tell Demi, no, you can't buy from me directly. You have to go through I think in a way, Demi appreciated it also. So that was just a story that I tell today. There people go, what? You told Demi Moore that she need to go buy from somebody else? You are crazy. Yeah, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But I thought it was the right thing to do. But it worked out great. Demi, I would see her the following years at Toy Fair. And it was so funny at Toy Fair. We would know that Demi Moore was in the building because it seems like the hordes of people would keep getting closer and closer to your booth. And like clockwork, we would say, oh boy, Demi must be in the building, right? And yep, there she comes, because all of a sudden everyone's interested in your work, right? And so Demi would come. I remember the first time I saw her at IDEX, she came up to me and she gave me a big old hug and everything, and we chatted and everything. And I guess the other people around, they were looking around like, oh, how come, what she's ever, because the whole thing was, if Demi saw your dolls, if Demi's interested in your work, well, but it was great, I was able to talk to her, in equal levels. It wasn't, oh, this is Demi and this is the, lowly artist. We spoke as two people with mutual respect for each other's art. So, there are a few other shows that I would see at IDEX. Following years, we would see her. And it was just great, to have that. And then, there was Richard Simmons. He was always a hoot at the shows. He would always grab me and hug me and dance with me in the middle of the room. Oh, Richard. But it was just great, to meet these great people and to have your work just enjoyed by, people of such high stature. So that was my little taste of the celebrity life, I guess. So here we have his finished sculpted hands. I absolutely love the way they turned out, trying to capture all of the little fine line details, and fortunately with the silicone, all of this will be retained in his production. So that's all for now, folks. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a little something. Next week, we will continue with the adventures of the creation of the prince. So be sure to share, to subscribe to my channel, to hit that notification bell, to like, and we're just having a lot of fun here. Thanks, guys. Bye.